Every 2 weeks since the beginning of 2025, we put out these meals videos showing you how I'm using the ingredients and groceries in my house to make meals for my family. And this is like a secret sneak peek kind of place where you can see more of what's going on in our lives and what's happening as we transition into a new season of our life. If you're just meeting me, my name is Amy Cross, and this is the Cross Legacy, where I teach you how to save money on groceries by reducing your produce waste and reducing all of your grocery waste. But I actually had a TED Talk teaching tips on how to reduce your produce waste and get it to last a lot longer. So the average family is throwing away over 40 to 60% of the groceries that they're buying, and we have zero food waste. We only go to the grocery store once every 3 to 4 weeks, and we're able to stick to a grocery budget of $135 per person per month. So this video is actually number 12 in the series. This starts right at the beginning of June. On the day that we started filming this was actually our grocery shopping day too for the month of June. So we went grocery shopping. That grocery haul video is already up on the channel. And then we did a washing video of all of the items that I washed, and also a produce putting away video. And after we get done filming this video today, I'm going to show you all the produce now 2 weeks later of what it looks like. So we are in the process of listing our house, and we are starting showings. And this first day of the cycle was the only day that we didn't have any showings because we were filming all day long. We decided after the grocery shopping and washing the produce, we were going to take a dinner break, and then we were going to film the putting the produce away after dinner. So this was a perfect example of how I had pulled out meat for just Mike and I to have for dinner, and then it ended up being the content team here for dinner also, which was a surprise and a good thing that they were able to stay here later in the evening. But I just chopped the chicken up a little bit smaller instead of keeping it into whole breast, and made a lemon pasta dish with artichokes and capers, and I added some asparagus in there, and then just an extra handful of pasta, and I was able to feed everyone, not just Mike and I. The next day was actually a very special day that I want to share. It's because of you guys that we are able to do this every year. But this is the 3rd year that we've been able to provide a scholarship to our local high school. And this year, when we were picking out the recipients for the scholarship, we had 2 that we kept going back and forth with of who we wanted to choose. And we finally looked at each other and said, should we do 2? We actually picked 2 students that will receive the scholarships, and we were able to go present that at our local high school and share our journey of how we really struggled with groceries when our kids were in school, and how those tips that I learned over those years are helping others. But it's because of book sales that we're able to bless these other families and provide the scholarships. And the one thing that I am going to miss the most about Western Washington is Mount Rainier. So it will hide sometimes for days or weeks at a time behind the clouds living here in the Seattle area. But whenever it is out, I have been trying to enjoy every second of it, seeing it on our back deck where we can just see the top of it, or as we're driving around, not me driving, as I'm the passenger. I've been trying to take pictures and videos just to capture every moment as we are still here in Western Washington, but we are planning on moving to Eastern Washington. I've always said that my heart beats 509, which is the area code in Eastern Washington. So we are finding these first few days of listing our house, it has been really crazy with showings at multiple times of the day. So we have to pack up and leave really quickly. That happened on the day of the scholarship night. Like, we were just getting off work, and all of a sudden there was a showing, and then we had to come back and get ready, and then there was another showing. So it's just been kind of crazy. The previous video, we talked about how busy we were and spending such long days trying to finish all of our remodeling projects. This is a different season where we're like trying not to make a mess, trying not to cook too much where the house smells, and still not eat out very much. So since the beginning of 2025, that first 5.5 months, we didn't get any takeout. And we did do a special occasion kind of trips to go out and celebrate a birthday or a family gathering, kind of going out for a special memory. We had really tightened our budget for not getting takeout and kind of breaking that habit. And we showed that whole journey on these videos. And right now I'm okay if occasionally we are getting takeout, but I'm trying really hard to stick to making it a special occasion and memorable if we're doing something. So knowing that we had evening showings, we had another one in the afternoon and one in the evening again, we decided to leave for the evening and we went to the opening night of the night farmers market and got to look around. We actually didn't buy anything besides some flowers, but they had the flats of strawberries that just looked beautiful and huge mushrooms that I thought was really interesting, listening to the farmers talk about their mushrooms and their different produce items. But we got to go see all of the different produce, and then we went for a drive up to the mountain, and I had packed a picnic lunch for us. So I was really glad that I bought those large hoagie rolls that I got on my last grocery haul, and I made us hoagie sandwiches. We had some barbecue chips, and it was a great thing to sit by the river and take in the view and just relax for a little bit as strangers were walking around in my house. With all of this moving and packing boxes and lifting heavy things, I can't do too much of it. I have reflective sympathetic dystrophy, which is something that affects my joints and pain levels. So we've been having a high school helper that has been coming in after school, and it has been such a great help. But whenever he's here, I always make sure that I feed him also. So we have been just making sure that our meals are a little bit flexible, that I can feed him when he's here at dinner time, because nobody wants to deal with a hangry teenage boy. So since he was here helping, and I'll tell you what we were doing in just a second, but we ended up having taco salads for dinner. And he was so impressed that I was able to go from working really hard at what we were doing, and in 5 minutes was able to get dinner on the table. And I was able to do that because I had pre-cooked taco meat that I batch cook and have in the freezer. So I had that defrosting. I just had to warm it up. We had taco salads, and we had homemade Catalina dressing with that I also had in the refrigerator. So within 5 minutes, we were sitting out on the back deck enjoying dinner, and he was super impressed that I was able to do this homemade and feed him also. But the project we had been working on was actually our meat order had came, and I had never taken inventory of it. So he was helping me lift 600 pounds of meat and put it on Mike's workbench so I could inventory it and take pictures. And then we ended up using our market bags and sorting it back out and putting it back into the freezer. So that way when it comes to moving day, we just have to take the bags out and move them really easily. So now we have all the B-roll and all the pictures, and we can put up more buying meat in bulk videos now that we have all the B-roll to go with it. So this was a day that we actually ate breakfast here at the house, and then we had an open house for most of the day. So we jumped in the car and we decided to go on another trip to go see the trees and towards the mountain. And we ended up driving all the way to 𝐂𝐻𝐿, which is this really tiny town that I remember from growing up. We've been there quite a few times since. But as we got into town, we realized that the steam engine was steaming and that it looked like it was just about ready to leave. And so we parked the car super quickly and ran into the ticket booth just to see in case maybe we could get on it. And we were able to get tickets and get on the train just minutes before it took off. So where we're moving in Eastern Washington, there won't be the beautiful evergreen trees like they're here on the wet side of Washington in Western Washington. It's much drier over there and it's a different climate, but we are so excited to be able to move. But being able to go to some of these places from our childhood and check them out before we're moving 4 hours away is just something that's really special, and we're making sure that we're taking the time to do these kinds of things. And since we had an open house and then more people were coming in for a showing later in the day, we ended up going and having dinner out that at night also. So we are finding it is the hottest days of summer so far. We haven't even put the AC in the house yet. So we have portable ACs normally in the upstairs and downstairs. We haven't even brought those in from storage yet. And it is just hot. We are pretty stressed out now that our house has been on the market for a week, wondering when is it going to sell and what's going to happen. And we don't have much of an appetite because we're stressed out. And also we don't want our house to smell when we have people coming in, and you don't want it to smell like your dinner for somebody else walking in. So we've been eating a lot of wraps and sandwiches or quesadillas, and this night we had some leftover gyros that we just made a quick wrap for, and then we headed over to Home Depot because that seems to be our spot between Home Depot and Lowe's when we need to get out of the house for a showing really quick. And we've been checking out all the kitchen appliances and the washing machine and dryers. So we know that we want to keep all of the appliances here in this house when we move. We actually made our listing price to include those because when we move to the new house, we want to have new appliances, not because we don't love these, but because there's a lot of stairs in this house to deal with moving them in and out. And in the next house, we actually have some really steep stairs going down to the basement where the washer and dryer needs to go. So it's just a lot easier to factor those into the cost of the house and have professionals move in new appliances. One of our kiddos was home for the weekend and I had made kebabs. Again, it was a super hot day. And so I had marinated these and we put them together and then we cooked them out on the grill. So it didn't make the inside of the house hot at all. And then we cut those with some watermelon. But I want to give you a couple reminders about kebabs. If you are making them with the wooden skewers, make sure that you soak those for a half an hour before you grill them so they don't catch on fire. And then ironically, it was the kiddo that was home when they were little, they jammed a kebab skewer up in their mouth and made a hold, and it scared me to death that I wouldn't make kebabs for a few years after that. So learn from my mistakes. If you are giving kebabs to little kids, to take them off of the skewer and put it on the plate so they can eat it. So we had zucchini, peppers, onions, and some leftover pineapple that we had on those kebabs. I love putting mushrooms and potatoes on those too, but we were just trying to make them super quick and use up the things that we had in the refrigerator. So we had some of the watermelon as slices with dinner and enjoyed it. And then the next day I made watermelon feta salad. Now, when I'm making this for a meal prep that's going to sit in the refrigerator for a few days, I don't add the feta until we go to eat it. So if I'm making it all in one big batch and I'm planning on taking it to a barbecue or a family gathering, then I'll add the feta. But when you go to put it as a meal prep in the refrigerator, sometimes that feta can make the watermelon seem a little milky. So I just keep that separate. And then every few days, I just make sure that I drain off the juice in the container of the watermelon, and that way it doesn't start to ferment and it stays really fresh. Over the course of the week, we were having little bowls of the watermelon feta salad to enjoy at any time. And this day was officially the hottest day that we've had all summer long. We are just getting our ACs into the house, but we still haven't even turned them on yet. And we had a showing that was kind of unexpected and last minute. So I ended up having us make hot dogs after the showing, and we just did those on the grill. We had some pickled onions and sauerkraut that we had on our hot dogs with some chips and watermelon. This is the day that we filmed the chive blossom vinegar YouTube video that is going to go up on the channel before or after this video. I never know what order they actually go on, but this has been a week since we filmed this video, and you can see how pretty it looks now in the jar. In another week, I will strain off the blossoms and then we will start using the vinegar in salad dressings. On this day, I was gone most of the day. I had some errands to run and I got my hair cut. But Ryan across the street, who I call my dad across the street, ended up ordering pizza because he knew I had been gone all day, and he does this a couple times a year to surprise us. We always think it's fun to get pizza in a box because normally I make homemade pizza. So when our kids were growing up, it was always a big deal whenever Ryan ordered pizza and it came in a box. But we ate dinner with him, and then we had another showing at 8 p.m. at night. So it just really really shows that we can't really plan anything because there's things happening in the afternoon, and then all of a sudden somebody will want to come and see the house even later in the evening. So if you're wondering, so far in this process, we don't have an offer on the house. We're hoping that it's coming, but we are still getting so many showings every day, and everybody has really great compliments about the house and the remodeling and staging and everything that's happening in our actual house. But the same week that we listed, there was about 6 other houses that listed in the exact same price range. So you just never know what's going to happen. If we would have listed a month before, it probably would have sold within 24 hours, but now we are fighting against some other houses that are all in the same price range, which is okay. We know that we're going to find the exact right family that's going to enjoy and love our house as much as we have. So after we had some showings that we snuck over to Home Depot again, that seems to be the place that we go during the showings, mostly because we don't spend any money when we are doing that. So we can go over there and wish and dream and look at the details of things without spending any actual money instead of walking around a different store or doing something else. And they're normally pretty quick. So we're normally in and out of the house within about 45 minutes. So it's just a good place for us to go. So all of these showings are making it really hard to plan ahead for dinner and know what we're having. And over the last couple months, I have used up almost all of our freezer meals that I had in the freezer. So I'm trying to plan ahead a little tiny bit, but also I don't want to be making a lot of freezer meals because we don't know when we're moving. So it's just this transition of life and everything that's happening. But I ended up making the filling for lettuce wraps after we got home from Home Depot, and I stuffed those with tons of veggies. We had some zucchini and carrots and celery, some water chestnuts in the meat filling. Normally I will batch cook this and I'll put some of it in the freezer. Again, not knowing what the next day is going to be, I was just really happy to have lettuce wraps that night, and then the next day we ended up having lettuce wrap salads, which we were totally happy with doing. I just cut up lettuce and added brown rice to it the second time, and we ate it as a salad. It was really hot out, and we had our helper here, so we were able to feed him dinner too. And I'm kind of getting to wonder if he eats dinner with us and then goes and eats with his mom too. So you just never know. So Mike has done about 90% of all of the projects in this house over the last 22 years as we have lived here, and especially in the last 5 years. But just this last couple weeks, his Uncle Chet has been coming in and just helping him wherever he can. He'll just pop in and say he has an extra hour, and what trim pieces do you need help with, or what project are you working on today? And he's able to come over and just help Mike for a couple hours in the evening. I just thought it was kind of fun watching them work together, trying to figure out the grade of the floor because it's not flat, it goes over our stairs, so it's at an angle. And instead of it being carpet, they put the same flooring that we have in the whole rest of the house. So to hear 2 perfectionists work together to make this flooring in this closet absolutely perfect took quite a bit of time, and it was just neat to see them really want to see every single detail of finishing up this house to be as perfect as they can make it. And I'm just so proud of Mike that nothing in any of these remodeling projects was like a landlord special. Like, he has really tried to do every single thing to the best of his ability and to make it perfect. I oftentimes will cook extra veggies. I'll especially prep extra veggies, so I'll have them for other meals on busy nights. A lot of times I will cook those as a sheet pan meal. This night I was actually making yakisoba. So I ended up making a ton extra of the veggies because I knew I could repurpose it, adding different proteins. But again, we don't know hour to hour when a real estate agent wants to come into our house. So I've been trying to meal prep a little bit just so we can pull things out and eat them quickly. And this day we had some chicken sausage that I was able to defrost pretty quickly, and then we had it with the yakisoba. I have the yakisoba sauce recipe on our blog because we are an allergy family. I have to make most of our sauces and condiments from scratch to make sure that there's no allergens in it. for us. So if you're interested in making yakisoba, we have that recipe, but it is a great one to be able to spread out and to make and feed a bunch of people, which also has been the theme of this lately, is being able to just add a little bit something to dinner so we can feed whoever is here helping us in the evenings. So the yakisoba is a great one that you can add any kind of protein to it. We often make it with chicken, steak, or shrimp. And during the summertime, we make it out on our Blackstone. Last summer, we had a fun party for Mike's birthday, and he did hibachi on the Blackstone, and it was a great way to feed an entire crowd. And it's also a great way to clean out your refrigerator before you go grocery shopping if you're trying to use up some produce items. I'm not trying to use up necessarily any produce items, but it has been 2 weeks since I went to the grocery store. If you've been following along since the beginning of all of these things that have been happening since January, you might have seen our pantry tour, or go check it out. We'll link the video in the description. But for years, I kept our microwave in the pantry, which was actually a bedroom of the house that we have now switched back into being a bedroom. And then we also at one point kept the microwave in this white cabinet in our living room. Again, I got rid of the white cabinet because we didn't want to move it, and I don't really love having it out on my countertop. So I packed it away in a box just to see how often we are using the microwave. And so far it's been over a week, and we have only kind of thought about it a little bit, but we've been able to easily warm things up in a pan. And another family can have it on the countertop if they want to. I think there might be a microwave in our next house. I'm not sure. We're just kind of doing a trial and seeing how it goes without one, and if we want to bring it back, we will, but it's just kind of a fun little experiment, and I thought I would take you along on the ride. This was another night of showings, and we weren't having dinner until like almost 8 o'clock at night. And so when I asked Mike to go get the chicken strips out of the freezer, he saw that we had tater tots, and he would eat like a child most of the time if I would let him. So he wanted chicken strips and the tater tots, which by 8:30 at night, I didn't care what we were having, but I was planning on having chicken Caesar wraps, and we also oftentimes will have a salad with the chicken strips on top. So all of these different things, I had all of the ingredients in the house that we could just make whatever we wanted to make that night. It really goes to show that when you have ingredients in your house that are flexible, that you can eat dinner a little bit differently on a whim. And we are going to wrap this up with it being Father's Day. We went to a car show and we were gone all day because, again, it is just crazy at our house. We never know what is happening. And this day we really just needed a break. But when we got home, I made some strawberry shortcakes. And while I was doing this and making this cream cheese kind of sauce to go with it, I actually left the shortcake in the oven a little bit too long, and they got a little bit too done because I turned it off but didn't take them out of the oven. I just let them sit in there. So I didn't get the pretty pictures that I wanted for the strawberry shortcake. You can tell they're a little bit done. They were still delicious, but I had added to the shortcake, I had added Greek yogurt and some protein powder to kind of help bump up the protein a little bit. And then in this cream cheese kind of filling that I made for it, that was also cottage cheese in it, and I blended that up and it made this pretty pink sauce. So I'm going to make that another time so we can get the pretty pictures that we need to put this on the blog. But it was a great dessert that had some extra protein in it, so it didn't spike my blood sugar having the extra protein in it, like if I would just have dessert with no protein. Check out the strawberries on my strawberry shortcake. These strawberries are over 2 weeks old at this point, and this is where we're going to wrap up this video. So now we're right at the middle of June, and the next video will start here with 2-week-old produce. So if you haven't got the Zero Waste Produce Guide yet, this has over 75 produce items A to Z to teach you how to keep produce fresh for weeks. And these videos prove that we are using that produce that is weeks old household. And then how I keep track of my groceries and meal planning are all in our meal planners. There's 5 different covers for these, and I keep track of how much money I've spent, what our inventory is in the house, what we've actually had for meals. And this way I can look back over these over the seasons and years and be able to pull ideas from what we've already had. And as we're planning on moving, I also have a grocery list in here of things that I need right away and things that I won't need until after we move or into the fall. So we can stick to that grocery budget of $135 per person. But these 2 items are listed in the description, and there is a secret discount code for watching this video. So make sure that you're checking this out on our 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐂𝐓 shop. So this is video number 12. All of the videos are down in the playlist that start in January, and we plan on continuing these videos every 2 weeks, even though we're moving and life is crazy right now all throughout the rest of the year. So we are right in June, and we're right in the middle of the year, and you can see how we went from the winter into the spring and moving into the summer, and how some of our meals and what is going on in our life has changed. But these videos are the only place that I really talk about what's going on in our lives too. So it kind of gives you a deeper look on what's going on in the 𝐋𝐈𝐍𝐊𝐒. So it's kind of fun for that. And we also post all of our grocery hauls. So you can see when I go grocery shopping, what ingredients I'm buying, and then how I'm using them throughout the month. All right, this is an actual extra bonus little clip at the end of this video, because we were just filming the next video talking about the produce that we still had left in the refrigerator 2 weeks after going to the grocery store, because it's been 2 weeks since I went to the grocery store, and I realized I had the pineapple in there, and then I realized I made notes for this video on Friday before we had pizza over the weekend, and this is the last of the pineapple that we have left. We ate up the rest of the Canadian bacon. I still have a little bit of mozzarella left in the refrigerator. I always have pizza sauce here, and sometimes I'll make the dough homemade from scratch, and other times I find that the pita breads, the gyros from Costco, come in really handy for personal size pizzas. So that is what I did. I always have some of those in the freezer, but that is what we had on Saturday. Sunday was Father's Day, and we went to the car show. But make sure that you're checking out our produce washing video. We did a produce washing video 2 weeks ago and a drying video. Those videos are already up on the channel. And then just today, we were filming the video of showing you what the produce looks like 2 weeks later.